Hi, this is Albert Saladin. I am the East Coast Promotions Director for Universal Music Latino. Promotions Director, specifically when it relates to the radio promotions, is the person that oversees a promotion staff. Promotion staff basically takes music to radio, exposes the program directors to our products, and gives them a reasonable need to play that music. Different companies divide the promotions department different ways. We have found, especially with the Latin market, being divided into different genres, and each label handles most of the Latin genres by one same staff. To make it a little bit easier, I guess is where we've started to divide the regions into East Coast and West Coast. There are some very specific geographic areas that each genre will cover more than others, and I guess that's why it makes it a little bit easier to separate them into geographical areas. The geographical division of the music genres in the Latin music business. I guess that it started more when there was more regional music being played in the West Coast, maybe a little bit more tropical music on the East Coast, and a mix of both on the pop side of the Latin music. Different stations will play the different formats, mostly, of the Latin music. Pop stations will try to stick mostly to their pop format. Tropical stations will play mostly the salsa, merengue, and reggaeton formats. And I guess the more format-oriented stations are those of the regional format. They do stick to their regional formats. Definitely, the promoter's job is to become as familiar as possible with the radio station staff. Mostly the program director. They deal on a constant basis with the program director. After all, that is the person that will have the last word as to what goes on the air or not. They do have to work very, very hard in creating that kind of relationship where they can actually access this very busy person that handles all the programming of a radio station, but also, in most parts, especially in Latin business, handles other aspects, including the hiring, recruiting and hiring and scheduling and other aspects of the radio business these days. Yes, radio in the Latin business is definitely the most important tool for marketing music these days. Most of the good percentage of the Spanish radio station listeners are immigrants, maybe first, second generation immigrants, and they still have a lot of their traditions. They bring them with them, and there is a lot of radio being heard in Latin America. Cable and satellite dishes are not as easily available to some of these Latin countries. So radio, it's probably the one method of marketing music. That the music business relies on, and they bring that custom with them to the States as well. There's a lot of good products out there. Creating a need for a product is basically making sure that the program director understands that your product is the one that they should be playing to appeal their audience. And as there are lots of products out in the marketplace, different labels putting out different products, and even within your own label you have a number of products that you're putting out. Competition is very, very tough. And you basically want to make sure that the programmer picks and understands that your particular musical piece is the one that is going to attract their audience. Well, I was very lucky to get into the music business. As a very, very young fellow, went to the conservatory trying to learn how to play the piano. Did learn a little bit of it, and then different circumstances drew me away from it, and ended up doing other stuff. And then one day I needed a job, and one was offered in the music business, just basically doing small tasks around the office and phone calls to the radio stations, making sure that they got the product and whatnot. Just the very, very basics. And I guess that I have to say that I was very fortunate to start that way. I had to grow into where I'm in right now, and I had to learn every step of the way. Sometimes easier than others, but that's how I got to where I'm at right now. I'm extremely happy that I made music my choice of careers. I had the opportunity to try it in a couple of different other fields, and almost by accident I ended up back in the music business, which I had started with at a very young age. And I'm so glad that life threw that opportunity back at me. And it's a chart-driven business. It's a number one driven business. You're always striving for that number one, and that is the biggest satisfaction that you can get when you make a hit and you look at the charts and you say, I had a lot to do with that. I guess that every single song is a different universe. You just have to try to relate your product to the right format and try to expand that universe as much as you can once you've created a strong base for that product. Once you've reached the direct market that product is targeted for, then try to expand by means of crossing over to the other formats, by means of crossing over. In the case of Latin music, we are constantly trying to create crossover, not just in formats, but even in languages, and that has created some mega hits in the past few years. With hits, you do hear a song for the first time, and yes, you have that gut feeling inside of you, and after being in the business for a while, you tend to learn to read from hearing a song for the first time what can or cannot become a hit. Sometimes it's a lot easier than others, and sometimes you have to push the product a little bit more or stronger for it to become a hit. But in all, you have to expose your product in order for it to become a hit. You do have to expose it. There's no such thing as it became a hit on its own. There's a whole team of record label people that take it that way, and collaboration with media, radio, TV, written press, now the internet. That's how you get to make it a hit. I think that you could. I think that you could, and I think that it has happened. You can create a hit without a record label, but there's so much competition out there, and the radio stations do want to relate. They're used to relating a music piece to a record label. They want to have somebody to go back to, somebody that they can relate to and have a relationship with, and pick up the phone and say, okay, this is a great artist. What's this artist doing? Are they touring? Are they going to be doing any promotions in town? So it is a lot easier for radio to relate a product to an existing relationship with a record label. So I would have to say that if you're going by your odds, go with a record label, because it's going to be very, very hard to make it on your own. Again, the promoter starts by creating that relationship with the program director, and program directors are very, very, very busy people, and they have to pay, take care of how many employees, XYZ number of employees, and a large number of record labels at the same time. So it is a lot easier to go with somebody that already has established that relationship. Start from the beginning, learn the task from the beginning. You have to learn how the record is produced, mailed to the radio station, how it gets in the charts, and ultimately how you sell records by creating a chart hit.